Fine. Good day, everyone. How's life on your side? Coping with online teaching and learning. Hope everything is going on smoothly. Teachers, I am Subject Core from SMK Penang. Today, would like to give you some insights on classroom assessment, Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah, English Language Form 4. Before I proceed, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Kedah and SSTP Kedah for giving me this golden opportunity to share my experience in conducting classroom assessment PBD Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah for English Language Form 4. Let's begin. Teachers, what is classroom assessment, which I obtained from DSKP? Classroom assessment, the objective is involving the process of collecting information about pupils' progress in the classroom. The ongoing assessment is planned, implemented, and reported by respective teachers to determine the pupils' mastery level. Teachers, there are two types of classroom assessment. The first type are formative assessment and summative assessment. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with formative assessment and summative assessment. As for formative assessment is an assessment for learning, whereby it is also an assessment as learning, whereby summative assessment is an assessment of learning. What is the difference between formative assessment and summative assessment? Let me just share with you. Formative assessment is carried out during teaching and learning, and it is to monitor pupils' learning. It also helps the pupils to identify their strength and weakness. And the wonderful part about formative assessment is it helps teachers to address the pupils' problem and also plan an intervention. Well, let's look at summative assessment. Summative assessment is implemented at the end of an instructional period. Well, implemented at the end of instructional period, it is up to you teachers. It can be implemented after a unit ends or after a first test or mid-year or final test. And it is only meant to evaluate pupils' learning. Well, teachers, what is Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah? Well, Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah, which I got from PBD Guidelines, 2nd edition, 2019, page 9. In Bahasa Melayu, it is secara formatif and summative dengan pelbagai pendekatan dan kaedah bagi mengenal pasti perkembangan pembelajaran murid secara keseluruhan. In English, it is an ongoing process in teaching and learning to obtain information about the progress, ability, and the achievement of pupils. And you can carry out PBD assessment during your PDPC. Teachers, PBD is also aligned to CEFR, which is can-do statement. Well, teachers, let me share with you the 9 elements of PBD. The first element is planned by teachers, systematic, formative and summative, method of assessment, criterion-based, focus on pupils' progress, track pupils' progress in learning, take follow-up action, and encourage. All these are found in your PBD Guideline 2nd edition 2019, page 10. For today, I would like to highlight on a few of the elements. Firstly, regarding plan by teachers. Teachers, all of us, before we plan to step into a class, we would have prepared our lesson plan. The same goes with PBD. You need to prepare before assessing your pupils. Why you need to do that? Because you want to assess your pupils with integrity. The second thing that I want to emphasize here is methods of assessment. Well, teachers, there are three methods of assessment, which are oral, observation, and written. And the next one I want to emphasize here is focus on pupils' progress. How are you going to focus on pupils' progress? Well, teachers, you can focus on pupils' progress based on the performance level which is found in our PBD guideline, second edition, and each skill has its own performance level with a very detailed descriptor given to us. This guideline will help us to award performance level for our pupils. The next one I want to emphasize here is take follow-up action. Well, what is follow-up action here? Well, follow-up action is actually a short intervention prepared by teachers when you come across a pupil who did not achieve PBD award, the performance level. For instance, what I meant by did not achieve the performance level here is if the pupils did not achieve the benchmark of 3, the students only achieve 1 or 2 marks, then you need to award them with the higher level. So how do you do it? You need to prepare an intervention for the students to be awarded with level 3, 4, 5, 6. But how are you going to do that? With that same learning standard, you can assess the pupils in a different lesson. The same learning standard will be repeated in the next lesson. So you do not have to worry, teachers. You do not really have to worry that the performance level of the student is not achieved in that particular lesson. You can still award with a better performance level by practicing it in the next lesson. Now, teachers, for today, I am going to share with you how I conducted PBD assessment in my classroom. But before conducting the PBD assessment, teachers, we need these documents. The documents are teacher's book, Full Blast +4, or you can use your student book. Or there is also DSKP Bahasa Inggeris Tingkatan 4. You must also have your SOW and also PBD guidelines, second edition 2019. So the documents needed are already on the slides. Now, teachers, what is this? Well, please do not get worried with the long list of objectives there. This is what the pupils need to achieve by the end of Form 4. So you can see that I got this from DSKP Bahasa Inggeris Form 4, page 26. You can find this in the DSKP Bahasa Inggeris under the speaking skills. But teachers, there are also reading skills, writing skills, listening skills, and speaking skills. Why am I showing you speaking skills? Because my lesson, I am going to focus on speaking skills. And the first bullet, I have inboxed it because that is my main skill which I want to achieve and assess my pupils. Now, what is this? Well, this is a scheme of work, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with it. And the scheme of work is done with detail. Now, let's look at the scheme of work. There is content standard, learning standard, learning outline, material reference, and differentiation strategies. Well, what is content standard, teachers? Content standard focuses on the aspect of knowledge, whereby learning standard focuses on the skills the pupils need to achieve and acquire. There is also a column of suggested learning outline and differentiate strategies in this document. Well, you are to plan your lesson according to your pupils' ability, teachers, and what suits them best. This learning outline is only a guideline to you for you to get the overall view of how the lesson should be conducted. For the lesson I'm sharing later, I'll be focusing on speaking skill. The content standard is spoken interaction, which focuses on communicating information clearly. So I have inboxed my content standard for the lesson I'm going to share with you, which is spoken interaction, which focuses on communicate information clearly, and the learning standard is 2.1.1, explains simple content on familiar topics from what they read and hear. Now, what is this? Well, teachers, this is the one which I was sharing with you earlier, the performance level for each skill. Well, this is the performance level for speaking skill, and these descriptors I did not come out on my own. It is found in the SSTP Bahasa Inggeris Form 4, page 28 to 29. Well, as you can see, every performance level, they have been given 3 descriptors. And teachers, you decide on which descriptor suits your learning standard and learning objectives. Well, as you can see on the screen, the descriptors that I have inboxed are the descriptors which suits my learning standard and also my learning objectives. And teachers, you need to highlight the keywords and also make notes so that you are well versed with the descriptors. It will help you in awarding your pupils' performance, teachers. So this is the performance levels for 5 and 6. When you look back at performance level 1, there is minimal ability, some ability, and these are the keywords, teachers, and also clearly providing some relevant details, and also for performance level 5 and 6. The keyword here is a lot of relevant details, and the other one, performance level 6, is providing a lot of relevant details confidently. The difference between performance level 5 and 6 is the word confidently. Now teachers, I am going to share with you my lesson plan that I did for my class to assess them in the PBD assessment. Well, my lesson plan is based on Unit 1. The theme is Science and Technology. The topic is Let's Chat. Level Mixed Ability. And my lesson, I refer in the SOW, which is under Lesson 4, page 30. In my lesson plan, the main skill is speaking, and my complementary skill, which has been suggested in SOW, is listening. Now, teachers, my lesson is a textbook lesson. So, my task for my students to achieve is speaking, and they need to talk in groups of 4. You can see that I have highlighted the phrase talk in groups of 4, which is found in the textbook in the instructions. Look at the pictures and discuss the question. Students are given 5 questions to discuss, and they are also given their targeted vocabulary and targeted phrases to help them to speak. Well, teachers, if you have the textbook, let's refer to the textbook, and the textbook page is page 12. Now, let's look at the main skill, teachers, the content standard. Speaking 2.1, communicate information, ideas, opinions, and feelings intelligibly on familiar topics. Next, learning standard. Speaking 2.1.1, explain simple content on familiar topics from what they read and hear. Now teachers, you'll be wondering, why did I bold some words there? Well, I will share it with you later. Now let's look at the complementary skill. My complementary skill is listening 1.1, understanding meaning in a variety of familiar contexts, learning standard listening 1.1.5, understand independently on a wide range of familiar topics, more complex questions on a wide range of familiar topics. Well, remember, I was telling you why did I bold some phrases in my complementary skill and my main skill. Well, this is for the term and meaning. Teachers, maybe sometimes we may come across phrases that we are not familiar. Well, you do not have to worry much. Everything is found in the SOW in your glossary, page 22 to page 25. Well, teachers, what is explain simple content? Well, explain simple content is people explain the main ideas in a written or spoken text using their own words which are different to those used in the original text. What they read and hear? Well, what they read and hear? Any written or spoken text suitable for B1 mid-level. Now, listening. We came across this understand independently more complex questions on a wide range of familiar topics. Well, what is complex question? Well, complex question is a question that contains more than one clause and is also a probing question. Well, for me, in short, for my students' level, I consider complex question is kind of hot question and it also will guide me to avoid performance level of 5 or 6. Now, let's look at my learning objectives. My learning objective is pupils will be able to explain at least 3 out of 5 sentences when they have heard in their group's discussion about free time activities. That is my main skill. Well, where do they answer 5 sentences? How are they going to answer 5 sentences where there is no question? Well, teachers, the questions are already in the textbook, given 5 questions. So based on the 5 questions, pupils can answer it. And then the next thing is my complementary skill is answer orally at least 2 complex questions posed by the teacher. Well, a lesson won't be fun if we do not have a proper introduction. So what is my induction for the lesson today? And I'm sure all of us will start with something fun and interesting to gear up our pupils towards the topic that we are going to share. Well, teachers, this is my set induction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the pupils to draw an image for their 2 favorite free time activities. Well, to draw an image for 2 favorite free time activities which can be done individually and group. Well, teachers, here the pupils have to draw 2 free time activities. One which can be carried out in group and the other one which is carried out individually. Here, I'm going to get them to do on their mini whiteboard. Here, I'm integrating my 21st century learning skills whereby pupils will be sharing with their shoulder partner. Now, the suggested lesson for my lesson is, now the next thing is pupils talk with their shoulder partner about the 4 pictures using the targeted vocabulary. Now teachers, if you are looking at the textbook, the 4 pictures are already given in the textbook and the targeted vocabulary is also been given in the textbook. What the pupils need to do is, they need to talk based on the vocabulary and also maybe use some of the phrases in the box. Now, what methods I'm using here? Well, I'm using methods of observation, but I am not going to do the assessment. The assessment will be done by the peer because they will be talking with their shoulder partner. And what instrument that I have done here is an instrument of checklist template. What I'm going to share with you is just a sample which I did it on my own. This is the template that every pupil will be getting it, and in this template, the peer will be writing the name, and as the partner is speaking, the peer will be ticking on the vocabulary which the peer had used. So this is a peer assessment activity. Now, let's look. In my suggested lesson also, I have carried out a method of assessment which is called self-assessment. Well, pupils in group of 4. Remember, the earlier instruction talks in group of 4. They will be seated in groups of 4 and they will be studying the 5 questions given in the textbook and discuss the answers in their groups. So here it comes method of assessment, self-assessment, and the instrument template will be shared in the next slide. Well, teachers, I did not come up my own with all this method of assessment. It is all found in the PBD Guidelines 2nd edition, page 7. Now, this is my sample of self-assessment checklist. Why I did a very simple self-assessment checklist. At level 1, I am unable to answer. Level 2, I only gave one word answer from the suggested vocabulary. The last column is written question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why did I write the question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, in the textbook, there are 5 questions that pupils need to answer. Now, this is my main objective here. This is where I come in to assess my pupils. This is where I am going to assess them. Well, now, pupils in that particular group will be moving to the other group and they will be sharing on what they have discussed in their respective groups. Okay, this is where I am going to assess them. And I have prepared my own template based on my learning objective, learning standard, and the descriptor given in DSKP. Well, teachers, I am using an activity for 21st century learning skill, which is talking cheats. Well, why did I use talking cheats? Well, when they get in groups, I do not want any pupil to be controlling the conversation. That is why I practice talking cheats, as I want to give every pupil a chance to speak. Well, this is my samples of pupil assessment record. Well, I've done it according to my pupil's ability. If you can look at the descriptor, teachers, the first descriptor says, able to explain in targeted vocabulary. Targeted vocabulary is the vocabulary which had been given in the textbook and also able to explain in the suggested phrases. Suggested phrases here are the phrases which have been shared in the textbook. But then, teachers, you will come across that some of your pupils may not use the targeted vocabulary or the suggested phrases. Then, are you going to penalize them? No, teachers. If the targeted vocabulary, if the vocabulary and phrases they use are in context with your content, then you can give them higher performance level. Now, the next one is able to answer complex questions using appropriate vocabulary and phrases. Teachers, this assessment, I am not going to assess my pupils yet, because this is under complementary skill. Now, These are the descriptors which I have explained earlier, that each level has three descriptors. So these are the descriptors that I have in box and is going to guide me to assess my pupils. Now, complementary skill. Understand meaning in a variety of familiar contexts. Now, teachers, you'll be wondering, why am I sharing with you again this complementary skill? Because I want to bring you back to the next activity where I'm going to assess my pupils to award them with higher performance level. Well, this is the part. Pupils will listen to two complex questions posed by the teacher and answer them. Well, this sample question, I got it from the SOW. There were a list of sample questions given and I chose which I feel my pupils can answer. And these questions I am going to post at the post lesson and I will see how they answer and how they can answer according to the content. So, this is the sample of pupils assessment record for complementary skill, which I have already put in the previous template. Now, teachers, if we have done all the assessment and everything is done, the next activity is for us to record our pupils' performance. Now, where can you record your pupils' performance? Well, this is when it comes to a record progress, record speaking skill. Well, you can't find this anywhere. This is, you have to prepare it on your own. So why do I do this sample of progress report speaking skill? It is for me to make sure my observation is valid and the assessment is authentic. I have also prepared this for reading skill, writing skill, and listening skill. For the progress report, teacher, progress report is up to you in however format you want to prepare. You can either prepare it in Excel form or you can do it like how I did. But it solely depends on you. You can even prepare your progress record in a cluster form. When I talk about cluster form here means it goes according to the skill, speaking skill, listening skill, reading skill, and writing skill. You can also prepare your progress record according to the units that you teach. Now, if you refer to the Buku Panduan PBD, page 46 to 47, you will get to learn how to record and analyze your pupils' progress from time to time. So, it's solely up to you, and you know that we need to do the pelaporan twice in a year, which is in June and October. So, with this progress record that we had kept as evidence, it will be easier for us. Now, you may come across of this in also Buku Panduan Pengurusan PBD, page 46 to 47. And this is what you need to remember. So here are some suggested assessment activities during NCO, teachers. I know during this pandemic, it is very crucial on our part. So here are some suggested assessment activities during the NCO. There is online learning platform, Google Meet, Google Classroom, Google Form, interactive worksheet, Kahoot, and quizzes. There is also offline, which is modules, compilation of worksheet, mix online and offline, watch sample video online, and write short review in exercise books. Now teachers, for the less fortunate pupils with limited access of internet, teachers should consider preparing some kind of learning modules, which I had shared in the earlier slide. So these are some of the modules that you can share with your pupils. The one of the best thing to do is PBL, project-based learning. It's a great way of doing assessment for 3 to 4 skills in one go. PBL can touch 3 to 4 skills in one go, and it is for pupils who have less internet, limited access of internet. Imagine having pupils doing the compilation of their family free time activities, writing a review in the form of interactive notes, and even recording a video of them carrying out their free time activities from their scrapbook. Well, this is connected to my Unit 1, which I was discussing with you earlier. Well, doing project-based learning will help your pupils to be comfortable in what they are doing. And finally, you may want to consider doing mixed method, online and offline assessment. Get your pupils to watch a video online. Last but not least, I wish all of you the best. And before I end, I just like to share with you this beautiful quote. Let today be the start of something new. With that, this is me, Teacher Jit, signing off for today. Thank you. Para penonton yang dikasihi, sila isikan maklum balas program di pautan berikut.